All right, last project we're gonna cover. Another metaverse play. And this one is Nanoverse, or Nanopass. So the whole overarching world is Nanoverse, and their first launch was their Nanopass. So the Nanopass is a chunk of metaverse land in their land or their metaverse that they've created themselves. um, they're an early access pass that doubles as a plot of virtual land in the nanoverse. Each pass is procedurally generated set of 22 unique animated assets, so each one looks different and has different assets. They grant you a weekly black box, so that black box is like a reward. And that's actually, I'll get into it later, but that's actually what the team's working on currently. So owning a pass guarantees an allocation in the private pre-sale for phase 2 of the larger project. So they still have to do their phase 2. So that's kind of where we're at right now. I'll just we lost Philip. There we go.
Back.
We're back. So yeah, I was just mentioning phase 2 of the project, and that's kind of at where we're at right now with it. A quick look at their OpenSea floor price is sitting just below 1 Ethereum. Now, this was done as a Dutch auction. And at one point, the Dutch auction, I think it was 1.2 ETH was sort of where it settled at. So not doing as well as you would hope if you're holding
Yeah.
on to this thing.
Yeah. So it's under mint price at the moment.
It's under the mint price, but we
Yeah.
did mention before that mint price doesn't floor price doesn't always equate to the success of a project, so keep that in mind. And like I mentioned, they are getting into phase 2 right now. So if we jump over to their Discord, they just made an announcement on the 17th. So they're updating with they're going to have a Twitch stream. But they want to let you know that they're an AMA on their Twitch stream. They want to let you know that they're busy in phase 2, working on the black boxes. And then agents are being worked on as well. So this is a secondary collection. We can just pull up their Twitter quickly. These are the agents that are going to be part of this nanoverse world. So they are trying to deliver on their roadmap. But again, it is at a lower
So
price than mint.
those agents are gonna have artificial intelligence and almost be like a virtual assistant, in a way. Okay, so that's number one. Number two, and the reason I think that it explains the floor price, there was real disappointment when the project, and again, I am a holder, there was real disappointment when the project launched with how similar each world looks to each other. So if you just scroll that down there, yeah, so you get
This
four
guy and
different,
this guy are
you
almost
get
the
four,
exact.
exactly, you get four different types of worlds, and then small variations. Now when you make it bigger, they are animated, and the one's got butterflies, and on a big screen, if you make it even bigger, it really is beautiful and it really is nice, and there's a lot going on there. But as a PFP project, I think people were expecting there to be much bigger differences in the world, and that was initially what sort of drove the price down. Another thing, and it's important to know that this always happens in projects that are giving things to the community, like these black boxes, which is a weekly thing. You always have those users that when they get just a whitelist for a very new project that isn't going to do well, they pissed off and they sell. So their very first black box drop was huge NFT projects. Like there was one Bored Ape, and there was like two mutants, and there was like five cool cats, and a lot of good ones. And then ever since then, it's sort of gone down a bit. And most of the time, you're getting fragments which you are going to use towards your artificial intelligence. So I think initially people expected every single black box to get an NFT, and even the first black box, maybe they bought 300 really nice NFTs, but they've got 8,000 or whatever holders. The vast majority of those holders never saw that and end up leaving or being upset or whatever it may be. I am bullish on this project long term. Obviously, I'm still holding it. I am bullish. I like these metaverse projects at the moment. It does seem like
updated
we've
floor
shifted.
price, we've even gone down
I must stop
0.89.
talking. It does seem like, the metaverse is still going to be there, but we passed that phase. Saying be careful about being on the tail
With the
end of these
trends.
trends and buying the 17th project to launch of the same thing.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Because you hear it a lot, like metaverse, metaverse, metaverse. We're going to have metaverse this, metaverse that. Well, what exactly are you going to do with metaverse? Are you having an avatar? Are you going to be producing metaverse land? If you're a land play, how do you plan to compete with the sandbox and
Sandbox,
the
Decentraland.
Decentraland and Meta now, like with like Facebook becoming Meta, or even NFT world becoming like, I, I mean, that's sort of a sleeping giant, but just listening to what you're talking about, the expanse of that thing, right? Like
But the
it's
only reason they've
huge,
been able to do that is because they're using the same engine as the Minecraft side of
right?
things. So they've been able to tap into that, which is a brilliant play.
Mm-hmm.
But they haven't had to develop this from scratch. Otherwise, there's no way they
Yeah,
could have done it. So you're right. Just the word metaverse, you want to find out more. And, metaverse land at the moment, even sandbox and whatever, is expensive. It is
yeah,
expensive at the moment. And like we said, you've still got to pay to develop on that land. And then you've still got to pay to get people to come to your land, because you could be sitting there with a bloody castle that's got like entertainment for all your guests 24/7 and no one's coming in. There's no point to that either, right?
yeah,
So you gotta really be selective. Or you could have a patch of land in the sandbox where there's nothing around you, where someone's going to have to walk for 50 days in the desert to find you, and you think you in the metaverse. Now fine, maybe it will be like Las Vegas, and in 100 years people will have to develop there because there's no more space, anything else. But in 100 years you could make a lot more money of other things in the meantime, without your money being stuck there waiting until you get your Vegas in the corner of sandbox.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, so it's just about doing your own research and making sure that the project you get into is worth it, and if it isn't, not getting hung up on it and move on to the next kind of